co-host. Hey, this is a team effort here.
Fair enough.
How are you?
Good. How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, fighting off a bit of cold, but nothing too serious that was keeping me on the bench tonight. So we're here, we're
That's
ready
good.
to
That's
go,
good.
enjoying a close game here. Um, you know, couple of mistakes from Shilovs, um, but other than that, a pretty tight game both ways. I'd say Abbotsford probably has the edge with better scoring chances. Definitely have dictated the majority of the pace of play, especially 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there hasn't really been much special teams play. They only had the one power play there, but for sure, they've looked far more dangerous. The speed that they're getting in behind the Stars defensemen. Really, the Stars, we talked about it going in, that the Stars really only have that one line, and Abbotsford has kind of done a good job of keying in on them after they got that first goal. And really, that first goal was just Shilov's kind of being caught a little too deep in his net.
Mm.
Again, with kind of he kicked across a little too hard, and I think gave up a little too much of the net on that one. Whereas if he had just kind of read the play a little better, I think he would have got better body positioning, and I don't think that one beats him. The second one just handcuffed him. He kind of played it a little too casually, I think. Those ones you got to make sure they're in the glove, especially when the guy's barreling down, and especially when um, the announcer kind of said, "Oh, the D was backing in a little too much and getting collapsing." Well, that's a shot you let your goalie have, and you kind of expect him to control it. You turn around looking for him to either play the puck to you or have it covered. You don't usually turn around expecting to see it sitting there wide open and then the forward going right by you and burying his own rebound. So um, just two plays that she loves probably would like to have back, and the Canucks in general would probably like to have back. But overall, really happy with how they're playing. Really physical, separating the Stars off the puck well with the body. Keeping disciplined, staying out of the box for now, which is great. Um, and yeah, just I really haven't saw much for downs. Adjusted really well coming out of the first intermission there, which we've seen Malholtra kind of do all series long. He's rolling all the lines out there against the top line because there's really no difference. Everyone plays the same style. Everyone's bought in. They wait for Texas to give them an opening, and they're going to find the back of the net here if they keep playing those chances. I mean, they're going to go in. You don't get that many quality chances without finding a few more goals.
It's kind of interesting because it feels like the Texas attack and the Abbotsford attack has been pretty similar, working it down low, then working it back up. So there's that a north south, and then just maybe a quick east west. But that they did such a good job against Colorado in the last series of keeping that middle of the slot all bunged up. But the first goal of the game, Cole in all alone in that high slot off of an unfortunate fall by Cole McWard behind the net. And of course, the very first goal in the series comes from a former Vancouver Canuck, from a kid from Richmond.
Yeah, of course. You got to have that Canucks tie-in, right?
Yeah.
It's always got to bite us somewhere down the line.
Yeah. Well, and the Shilov's the one that you said, the second one he let in, it was almost reminiscent of that Patrick Waugh back in the day, right? Where he's like, I got it, and the puck dropped down. But it was one of those ones too with Shilov's, how tall he was, and his glove is literally like this high up, right? So the puck was probably going to go off the end boards and all that. So you almost wonder if it was a better idea just to let it go by.
Yeah, well, and you saw him go straight to the smelling salts after that one for a little pick me up. So hopefully he's he did shut her down for the rest of the period there, and hopefully he can bring her home in the third and play as the solid play he's brought entire playoffs. He made some really big saves early in the first. Another great glove save in the second period there on a drop pass just inside the blue line. Really good stuff. And top to bottom, the whole team just really playing well. And it was an unfortunate. Cole McWard looked like he caught an edge there, so it was an unfortunate fall on the first goal for sure. But I mean, this team's just exciting to watch play. They look like they've kind of learned something every series. That series against Colorado, you kind of see that they came out and they knew they needed to dictate the play physically. which is what they try to do really early on. You saw Ty Glover throwing a couple of big hits in the corner, showing why he was put back in the lineup in Game 5 of the last series, and kind of just carried that over into tonight. Sammy, the Blake, Kara, Smith line with some really good chances early in this game, and also throwing their weight around Blake, keeping his cool a little better tonight, and being as the dynamic player that we've seen him be for the last half of the season. So I would expect these boys to come out quick here in the third period and hopefully get out to a quick 3-2 lead, and then hopefully be able to pad that and bring this one home.
Yeah, I was going to mention Blade too, because he's had a couple really nice plays, a couple Toews rags. He's putting right through a couple people, driving the net. And that, I think that's the other common play we've seen from the Canucks, not just Blade, but a bunch of them, is they go around behind the net and then come back out front. They're just working it right in front of the net, and they're just jamming away, looking for some grease out there. And that's probably how you're going to end up winning these games.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they have the edge a bit in speed. So Abbotsford looking to generate a few more of those odd man rushes, get a 2-on-1 here, and expose the Texas Stars back end.
Well, it's interesting too, because we always talk about like the juxtaposition of different games, and it's interesting because the Dallas Stars are a team that everyone talks about the depth, right? They have some decent talent, but they obviously don't have the high end talent, whereas the Edmonton Oilers have the high end talent, and so that ended up going in the Oilers' favor. Do you think that turns out differently? Because obviously, it sounds like the Texas Stars' high end talent's a little bit better than the Canucks, especially with Ratu out. And do you think the Canucks depth is going to be the thing that ends up coming through in this 7-game series?
Yeah, I mean, being able to run 4 lines top to bottom, and all 4 lines can put the puck in the back of the net. I mean, that goes a long way. You look at the scoring right through the entire lineup. It's been shared all season long, very spread out, and that's something that you really want to see. And you see a good system working the way it should be, and you have guys working in their best positions and their strengths, and so that's something that will play into the Canucks' advantage. 1, 2, and 3 in scoring, and the playoffs are that top line for the Texas Stars. However, after that, there's really not much from the rest of the team. So if you really only have to focus on one line, and you have 3 other lines that can be dangerous offensively, there's really no fear going up against these guys. So that's something that, it did show that Abbotsford did just try and take it to them. They've been trying to dictate the majority of the play and push the play into Texas's end, and just a couple of mistakes came back our way, which is what hockey is now, right? Like at this point where it's the Western Conference Final, like the littlest mistakes are all going to add up.
Yeah. So let's have a chat about the big club. Because the one thing that I saw today came out in the province newspaper. It was a discussion on the analytics department, describing the 4 analytic departments for the 4 teams that remained, until obviously 2 teams blew their wads and got knocked out. But obviously this is just all about stats and stuff like that. So the first one, they talk about the Carolina Hurricanes. And the thing I find hilarious about the Carolina Hurricanes is they hired a guy now to be their GM who started in their analytics department, who has like 27 US patents because he's got like a PhD in chemistry, but he also does hockey data. So someone completely unrelated to hockey. You got the Florida Panthers, who have a former professional poker player. Right? And then you got the Dallas Stars, who have been doing a ton of analytics for a very long time, actually stealing a guy from Kyle Dubas in Toronto, who is a very highly touted guy. And then the Oilers, the thing they talk about with the Oilers is, for a long time, they were just like, we got Connor McDavid, we don't need anything. But once now you see it, now they've been focusing on using analytics to pick out players to have join their team. And now the Oilers are going to the Stanley Cup Finals for the second year round. I'll just read this out. The conclusion: the Canucks have had an analytics department of one kind or another for 15 years now. They have been interested in numbers no matter who is in charge. Aiden Fox, who is the head of the analytics team now, has been praised by management coaches time and time again. They've made effective use of the data at times, but the department is well supported as it could be, whereas other teams, such as the Hurricanes, hire software engineers in the house. Canucks have not. They don't appear to be as nimble. Does that make you a little worried moving forward for the Canucks analytics department?
Um, I mean, it's never something that can't be changed, right? Like any of those departments in house can be changed, and if the Canucks feel like they're not getting the right um edge from the math in that sense, then they need to go find a guy with a higher IQ that has some sort of history in statistics and analytics. I mean, clearly it's just a math thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can really only control about 25% of the game, as the article kind of stated. 75% of hockey is luck,
Mm-hmm.
but you do your absolute best to control those what ifs. Um, yeah, obviously there's something to be said for the four teams that are were in the playoffs still, now down to two. Um, do the Canucks need to look deeper into that? Maybe. Um, Overall, it's a bit of a cap thing. Sometimes it was decisions made higher than the analytics department. Um, we've heard, historically that there's been arguments over who they should draft or who they shouldn't draft. So, I mean, you can have all the analytics in the world. If you have a GM who isn't going to listen to them, then it's really not going to do anything. So, it's just kind of a funny article because it really didn't say much about the Canucks analytics department, just that we got a guy and yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of Patrick Johnson classically grasping at straws.
Yeah.
He's one of those Sakaris and Price regulars that was super anti Malhotra because he hadn't watched any of the Abbey Canucks games all season, and then is suddenly changing his tune, and he likes to fly the negativity flag these days, which is tough. When you're just trying to pick apart holes and find things to pick the Canucks apart about. At this point, I think analytics are the last of our worries. Obviously, it doesn't matter who it is, but we need a top six forward, and analytics aren't really going to matter at the end of the day.
Head and shoulder, knees and toes, knees and toes, knees and toes. Got to add some toes to the feet or the foot. Apparently, Mr. Jonathan Toews is coming back. So it's not toes, it's Toews, but close enough, right?
Absolutely.
The rumor is he ends up probably going to Winnipeg, but we were chatting a little bit. Do you think he would be a fit on the Vancouver Canucks at the right price?
I think he'd be a fit on any team willing to take a flyer on a veteran that brings Stanley Cup winning pedigree, has always played the game the right way, has international gold medal hockey experience, has, for all intents and purposes, had a pretty much perfect career as a depth centerman. And absolutely, if you're signing him for league minimum, he's the type of player who would be really good to bring along a young Vancouver Canucks team, because we are going to get even younger going forward next year, and we were one of the younger teams this year. So someone like that could go a long way in your locker room, teaching these guys how to win the right way, what it takes to go all the way to the end. Also, if he is truly healthy again, has the potential to move up to a second line center role to help insulate Philip Hedl if he's really not struggling to fill those shoes. So, someone like that is absolutely someone you have to talk about. Of course, it depends on how healthy he really is and what ability he does bring to the NHL a game now. After being out since 2023. I think April of 2023 is the last time he played an NHL game. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a tough comeback, but if anyone could probably do it, I would put a lot of my money on someone like Jonathan Toews. He's always had the right mentality and attitude. So um, would I be upset? No. Would I be shocked? Absolutely.
Yeah. 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 Probably unlikely, but it's possible.
Yeah.
I want to get an update from you because before you left last game, you were talking about going down and playing in your qualifier. Can you give the chat a little bit of an update on how things went?
Yeah, so it was a good day. Didn't win, so I didn't get the automatic exemption into the U.S. Adaptive Open, but I did place 4th overall. I finished first in my impairment category, which were good goals for myself. Now I have to wait a week to see if I qualified in my category for the U.S. Open because they do it. There's 6 qualifying sites, and then they do like a score calculation to see who the 6 lowest in the coordination impairment category are, and then they go through. So if I don't get in, it's okay. I tried my best, and I'll focus on getting a win at the Canadian All Abilities this year because then I'll get an automatic exemption next year. But I'm staying positive, hoping that I did just enough to get in. But we'll just have to wait a week here and see.
There you go. That's good to hear. And then this one, I saved this one for last because it's pretty much a non-story, but I thought it was hilarious. David Booth going from a Vancouver Canuck jersey to down under. Like, what is this? Saying there's a professional hockey league down there?
I thought David Booth was gone and a thing of the past, man. Like after Mike Richards tried to murder him on the ice, he was never really the same. So he was a nut job even when he came in Vancouver here. I don't know how many people followed him on social media back then, but he posted some very interesting things. To the point where there's even a parody account of Mr. Booth 07 that just posts ridiculous things because that was what David Booth was known for. He wore his emotions on his sleeve and told it like he felt. And so still playing at 40, good on him if he thinks he can give something to an Australian league. But yeah, I'm surprised he's still playing.
To each their own, I guess. Playing down under, you might not have the same competition, but he has been signed by the best team in that league. So who knows? Maybe he brings that scoring touchdown.
Maybe he does.
Yeah. Awesome, Dustin. Thanks for stopping by for the Rusty and Dusty Sideshow, and we'll catch you in the post game.
Sounds good. Enjoy the third.
Nothing is perfect.